All right, this is a very good morning. I hope you're having one as well. I am, and this amp is. This is that first 63 AC30, and the top boost card is back in place. And right now I've got the top boost bypassed, and if I can find a pick, I'll let you hear it. So the top boost is bypassed. I'll go bridge middle on a Strat. That's with this out, engaging the top boost circuit. Now, as you can hear, adding that top boost adds a lot of gain. So it also makes the non-top boost brilliant channel very thin in comparison. If you were to turn the volume up to compensate, that's non-top boost brilliant with the volume up versus top boost with the volume down a bit. It makes the two options more comparable. So yeah, if you go from top boost to non-top boost, the brilliant channel loses output and sounds thinner, especially at the lower volume settings where that bright cap there plays more role. So if you have it bypassed, not a great sound. Don't judge the amp by that. Turn it up to like 1 o'clock. Has a lot of gain, a really nice sound, and that bright cap does less at the higher volume settings, which is where you would typically want to be with this anyway. Again, that's non-top boost brilliant channel, top boost brilliant channel. And the cut circuit makes that very different sounding. So I'm really pleased with that, and you'll get to hear this for real in a real playing video with a real mic soon. I want to point out some things about this. This is where I'm stopping with this amp for right now, because I've got to order a few more parts for it to really finish it up, what I consider properly. And I've got to order more parts. The other 63 I'm going to recap and then listen to it, and I'm sure I'll be ordering parts for it as well. So I've got a little extra length here on the wire going from the brilliant channel volume to the top boost circuit. That'll be neatened up. Got a little extra wire here too that is not as apparent in this angle, because I knew I'd be redoing this. I was out of carbon comp 220Ks, so I've got these carbon films timped in. They are going to have carbon comps before the amp goes out, and it'll just be prettier looking in this whole area. This whole connection setup will be much prettier than it is now. But I wanted to make sure it's working. And one other thing to show you here along those lines. Okay, I had some leaky DC on the input of the Vibe trim channel. That was bad 68K resistors, the grid leaks. And I replaced the grid, grid stoppers. I replaced the grid leak, the 1 meg, but I was out of carbon comp 68Ks. So I timped in these carbon films to make sure that it was right, and it was. That problem went away. And these have been really bodged up over the years, and they're really dark, and these resistors are really critical as far as, and this really colors the sound. Any flaw in this setup gets amplified a lot throughout the rest. So I'm going to order a whole bunch of new 68K carbon comps and redo the input resistors on all 3 channels just to make sure that that's good. And then the other issues, these have already been resolved, but the original hole that someone had drilled to install this card was here, and it was to the left too much to line up with the hole here, which will accept a screw, which clamps this to the chassis between the backing board and the chassis. So it was too far this way, so this would not go flush, and it was too far to the left, so the whole thing was crooked. So I have re-drilled this in the proper location, and it's centered, and that's nice, which means that it'll have chassis contact here, and once the bottom slider board is screwed in place, it has contact against the chassis here for better shielding and more mechanical support. And while you can't really see it here, I took a picture that I'll stick in here. There is a cage nut here so that this can actually have the screw that holds it in place, which will be nice. So I'm really pleased with this. It's very quiet, has that JMI AC30 background hum that low filtering JMIs have, but it's not problematic. It's so far below the level of what you play. That's going to be great. Still to come on this amp, I'm going to install the final power cable, because the one that's in there now is kind of cheap. That's what it came with. But I don't want to put the pretty one in and have it get all scuffed up by tossing around on the bench and stuff. And the bottom slider board for this, if you see the first video, it had a hotel card, plastic card in there to hold the output jack that someone had added. They did a crappy job. And like I've done on some other amps, they were repros rather than originals, but the slider board for this one's already been bodged up. I'm going to mount 3 jacks in that bottom board, one for the 16 ohm tap, one for the 8 ohm tap, and one for the foot switch for the tremolo. And this orange drop is going away, and another small cap is going beneath this old WEMA, so it'll look like this one, which has a little cap beneath it. I just don't like big things sticking out and saying, "Hey, I've been really slapped in quickly." You know, I want this thing to show the care that it deserves. And a note to anyone doing this, and to the owner: the top boost tube in an AC30, like V2 in a typical Marshall, is a cathode follower stage. It drives the tone stack from the cathode, and it's got 150 to 200 volts on the cathode of it. And many, many modern tubes do not like having that high voltage on the cathode, primarily tubes made in Russia. This has got a groove tubes labeled JJ in there. If you can't get a new old stock American or British or German tube, get a Slovakian JJ or a Chinese tube there, because pretty much all of the Russian tubes, that's Tungsol, Sovtek, Mullard, all of the stuff made by New Sensor, it typically will die with that much voltage on the cathode follower. So, word to the wise.